What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm according to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Ina Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. And upon us this coming Saturday, live and with paid subscription. I was going to say live and free, but we are going to have you. I mean, it's many names. It could be construed as UFC Fight Night, Aspinal versus Volkov, but it could also be construed as UFC Vegas 51. And this is a heavyweight affair. You've got it's headlined by a rising star, especially as we've been doing this show amongst the pandemic. Somebody that's kind of risen up the ranks, and his biggest test to date is one Tom Aspinall, and he's going up against former Bellator world heavyweight champion in Alexander Volkov. Man, this one is, I mean, it's either going to be a fucking banger or maybe one of the most, I guess, stylistically, equal matches, which could be a boring fight, and I see that because we're on the, the Derek Lewis, who was it? That was a boring ass fight. God, it was two heavyweight motherfuckers, and we thought somebody was going to get their head knocked off, and they went all 5 rounds. Which
it was recently too.
Yeah, I want to say it's Derek Lewis and either Gone or Derek. No, wasn't it Lewis?
No,
and
that
Ngannou?
was a finish.
Derek Lewis and Ngannou, then, right? No,
it was recent. It was more recent than that.
Okay,
I can't remember. Hey! When we don't remember like this, that's because it didn't leave an impression. So it doesn't matter who those heavyweights were. All we know is they were whack.
Take all your shit's whack. Like to say that like that. Yeah, I think that's a Limp Bizkit line from 1999, but I digress. Takia Pal says, "Hi guys, this is your number one fan, Mr. Takia Pal. Holla, 100% holla. What's up, good sister? Glad to have you with us and everybody in the chat. We are live." And this shit is going to get rowdy. But starting off the night, right, UFC Vegas 51 or Aspinall Volkov, we have it's kind of a lighter weight affair, and it's weird to say affair, but that's what it is. We have Muhammad Makayev, who is a perfect 5-1. I mean, I'm sorry, 5-0. What the hell am I talking about? He's a perfect 5-0, and he's going against Cody Durden, a much tenured veteran of 12-3-1. Now we're looking at the veteran of Cody Durden. First, he hails from American top team Atlanta, that has is home to the Pitbull brothers, and Cody Durden. The first time that we saw him on the UFC scene in any big degree, it was actually a draw against Chris Gutierrez, and then he got flying triangle choke by the master, at least the flyweight master of flying triangle chokes. That is the one and only former LFA flyweight champion, Jimmy the Brick Flick, right?
Yeah.
And then, Ali, wow, that's all one name, but his last fight with somebody, Aori Quilelingam Building. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck that. But, unfortunately, with all of the experience that Cody Durden has, right? And that's also a win over Dre Miley, who's a talented prospect over in, I believe it's in Tennessee, right? And he trains with Derek Brunson and what have you. He actually, he's been on the According to Woods podcast a multitude of times, but he actually had cancer in his eyes. So he's one-eyed and a badass. So that is something. But, all of Durden's notable finishes and performances were pre-UFC, right? Because he's gone draw, loss, and a decision in terms of his UFC career. But he's going in against a perfect Muhammad Mokayev. And Mokayev, again, 5-0. We've seen, similar records, guys and girls that are fighting at Lights at Extreme Fighting or any regional show across any part of the world. But he has made an impact where he's making his UFC debut after a run in both Celtic Gladiator,
Mm-hmm.
which, funny enough, the Celtic Gladiator is touching down here in LA this weekend, emanating from the Commerce Casino. But
Mm-hmm.
he is a veteran of Celtic Gladiator 28, but also the Brave Combat Federation, which shout out to the good brother, the Roaring Lion, Carlos Kremer, who's the voice, the ring announcer, cage announcer for Brave Combat Federation. So, with
Mm-hmm.
that all being said, you could argue that what Muhammad is, in terms of skill set, he is complete. Top level international competition that he's had in both Brave
Mm-hmm.
and Celtic Gladiator,
Mm-hmm.
and I think in both instances, in Muhammad as well as Cody Durden, these might be the toughest matchup. This is the toughest fight in their respective career, and we get that
Mm-hmm.
in the very first fight of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 indeed. Uh, People might look at this young fella, Mohammed Makayev, and think, "Oh, but he's only got 5 fights. He's only got 5 professional fights." But the man has 23 amateur fights. 23 undefeated, undisputed. You want to talk about Khabib? Talk about this guy, Mohammed Mokayev. 23 amateur fights, undefeated. 5 fights, professional, undefeated. Fighting in a respectable promotion, Brave. Come on, man. Come on. I'm going with the undisputed, unbeaten Mohammed Mokayev. Cody Durden, 12-3. Good for you. I'm going Mohammed. He's gonna grapple the hell out of Cody. I don't think Cody will be able to hang. Muhammad is in my book.
I can't agree with you more. So no, 100%. That's, you actually went into my head a little bit and kind of made my analysis. So that's how in stereo and in sync we've become over the course of our run here at Voodoo in the Woods. But yes, I agree 100%. Muhammad Mokayev, and I think he's going to finish. Unfortunately, and yes, Muhammad.
Ground and pound. It's
Yes,
gonna be that vicious ground and pound. He's gonna Khabib him.
yeah,
Don't expect anything flashy.
no.
Cody Durden is gonna get Khabibed, and that's that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And Takia says, Voodoo, you need to shout me out all the time because you know I'm always here. So go ahead one time for one.
What's up, homie? What's up, pals? What's going down, man? You know, it is what it is. You're always here, like you know, like every day, like Snoop would say. So, shout out to you, shout out to you, shout out to the pals. You know what I'm saying? We about to run this back.
Hell yes. And I think one, no better way to run it is going in the strawweight division or flyweight
Mm-hmm.
division, I should say. No, I get
Mm-hmm.
it right. It's a flyweight contest. But we have 4-1 Elise Reed going up against Cory Mckenna of Wales. Now, Elise
Mm-hmm.
Reed, a former champion of Cage Fury. Cage Fury, for those who don't know, is one of the preeminent uh, feeder systems to the UFC. Much like LFA and Lights Out, respectively. And there's a multitude. And I think we've said it over and over before.
Mm-hmm.
LA was just a hotbed for MMA and combat sports and what have you, but everywhere, top flight MMA talent, Muay Thai talent, Jiu Jitsu talent, karate, whatever, is coming out of every corner of the world
Mm-hmm.
in places you don't expect. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think her being a Cage Fury fighting champion, or CFFC former champion, that says a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in her UFC debut, she loses to Sajara Eubanks, and she gets grounded and pounded. But
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, Julian DeCourcy, Jasmine Judavicius, those are two
Mm-hmm.
UFC veterans now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a Bellator. She made her MMA pro debut at Bellator 231 back in 2019. So not to say, I mean, that's a big deal. It's crazy to make your pro debut one way, but also to be on a major promotion like Bellator. Holy but Jesus, this is somebody who is battle tested, and even in the amateur circuit, she faced none other than a friend of the According to Wood show, Samantha Seth. That was her last amateur fight before she turned pro and went to Bellator. And
Mm-hmm.
she's all she's gotten KO and she's got elbow wins. I think the only thing that has eluded her uh in her pro career is a submission, but she has an armbar. She actually lost to armbar to Roya Davasharnian, but
Mm-hmm.
beat Haley Horde at Cage Wars 39 via armbar. So
Mm-hmm.
she's a complete fighter. But we've got the Welsh Cory Mckenna, who is 6-1 for
Mm-hmm.
Poppins. Cory
Mm-hmm.
McKenna, I should say. Cory McKenna, my goodness, just in her last two wins, that is the Contender Series fight with former LFA champion Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos, right? And Kay Hansen, who is, by all intents and purposes, is a rising star win loser draw in the
Mm-hmm.
UFC, right? So, right off the bat, you could
Mm-hmm.
tell the top, and this is what I was talking about, and what we both preach about. Literally every corner of the world, there is top level competition, and yes, Kay Hansen is top flight, and Vanessa Demopoulos is top flight. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that like Cory McKenna's last two fights were, I mean, those two are as tough as they come, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to, not one judge voted the way of Kay Hansen and Vanessa Demopoulos as opposed to Cory McKenna. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, this is going to be an amazing fight, no doubt. But I'm going
Mm-hmm.
with Poppins, Cory McKenna.
Yes, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. LC Reed has only lost via submission. Corey has been training with Team Alpha Male, and you can tell by her record that she would not hesitate to utilize that beautiful wrestling that we love so much. She's gonna utilize that wrestling, eliminate the opponent's strikes by taking her to the ground, keeping her on the ground, smashing her on the ground, and eventually smashing and grounding and pounding, finishing her, take the neck, first round, about 4 minutes into the matchup. Elise will lose, and that's that.
Yeah, again, I can't disagree with you at all in this particular deal. And I was like, whoa, there's a lot of international talent. Well, actually, I stand corrected. This isn't a UFC Vegas anything because
Mm-mm.
this fight night is actually taking place in London, England.
That's right.
So this is
That's
the,
right. This.
I think, your first fight night. Uh, yeah, first fight night that isn't a, uh, what is it? The Fight Island, right? That
Mm-hmm.
is taking
Mm-hmm.
place in international waters since the beginning of the pandemic. So
Yeah, this is the one that they were afraid of due to that storm about a month ago that ripped up that arena, that ripped up the roof of that arena. They weren't
yeah,
sure they might be able to remember that.
yeah,
hmm
yeah.
This is
So
it. It's
that
going
makes
down.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So
hmm
there it is. And speaking of going down, the good brother Shane Hussey is saying, "What up, guys? What's up, Shane?" And Shane could be found along with the bodyslam.net universe on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling podcast and a litany
hmm
of others. So shout out to Shane. And also a one of the most prolific Twitch streamers there is. So go ahead and follow his Twitch stream. You won't regret it. I guarantee you.
Mm.
So with that all being said, we've got the third fight of the night. We have none other than, again, the Welsh are prominent in this card. We have
hmm
the perfect 15-0 Jack Shore against
Mhm.
Samir Valeev, who is 18-2. So we'll go with
Mhm.
Tank Jack Shore, who's a former Cage
Mhm.
Warriors champion, right? Um,
Mhm.
his last win was a unanimous decision over Ludwig Shaolinian, right? That
Mhm.
happened in September of last year. Split decision over Hunter Azor, Rene Kachok over Aaron Phillips, Norlene Hernandez. I mean, he's got wins all over the place. Obviously,
Mhm.
15-0, right? Cage Warriors basically having the best competition that the UK scene can be thrown at him.
Mhm.
Came through that fire stronger on the other side and basically laid waste to anyone that the UFC matchmakers put in his way.
Mhm.
Uniquely befitting of his name of the Tank. But Tamir Valiev, who also,
Mhm.
much like Jack Shore, has become a favorite of ours, training at Jackson Wink and also Dagestan fighter or Dag fighter MMA.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
but he also has some pretty big wins, right? Martin Day, Ronnie Barcelos, right?
Mhm.
He went to a no contest with Trevin Jones, which was suspect. But that is essentially his UFC career. He was supposed to have a fight with Jamal Emmers, LFA veteran, and also UFC roster member in his own right, but those got canceled as well as the Mark Striegel fight that got canceled. So he ends up making his UFC debut against Trevin Jones, and that goes to no
Mhm.
contest. And then, but as wins over Martin Day and Raoni Barcelos, who
Mhm.
also have been impressive. I mean, not in the sense of you just know you're going to get a fight out of Raoni and Martin Day. So
Mhm.
Tamir is looking pretty well, but also you can't wrestle with undefeated in terms of making picks. So I really want to see what you have to offer because I am pretty much split, which I think I'm going to probably go not because I disagree with you, but
Mhm.
whoever you, I'm going to pick the opposite because I think this is in terms of experience, in
Mhm.
terms of readiness in the cage. This
Mhm.
is pretty evenly matched, at least in
Mhm.
my vantage point.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I see your point. I see your point. Both men are very close in ranking, of course, and they are both. You can call them UFC veterans now. After 3 fights in the UFC, back to back wins, you're a veteran in the UFC now. You've established yourself. So these are two established fighters, two prospects, established prospects going up against each other. But as we always say, Jack Shore is undefeated. Approximately 12 fights in the amateurs, and undefeated as an amateur as well. He's got a very good grasp of that grappling, and his striking is well enough such that he can minimize damage. Tamir also is the same kind of guy. So this is the kind of matchup Brian Peterson would love to watch because you get to see the 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 wrestling dominance take over, right? Whoever has the superior wrestling will be the one to win this particular matchup. It's very hard to go against 15-0. It's very hard to go against perfection. The man's never tasted defeat. I'm going Jack Shore, and Tamir is very worthy of being picked in a 50% split. So I'll go Jack Shore. You go Tamir Valiev.
Yeah, I like it. I fucking like it. And this could be a fight of the night contender.
Yes.
Obviously Jack Shore being a Welshman fighting in London, England. In that, obviously UK circle, the close proximity to his homeland.
Hmm.
Assuming everything is in the clear for a capacity crowd, I think
Hmm.
this could blow the roof off of everything.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a highly contested fight, and especially if the crowd gets into it. Obviously, from your fight experience, as the king of the Nokia Theater here in Los
Yeah,
Angeles, California,
yeah,
what a crowd can do to exacerbate your already a top level performance.
definitely. And all the pressure is on Jack Shore. He's at home pretty much. It's a home court advantage, but at the same time, home pressure is on him. Tamir, yeah, they might boo him, but he's already expecting that. He's coming from the outside. He's Russian. You know what I mean? Though he trains in America with the New Mexico crew, he's an outsider, really. He's used to being an outsider coming into a foreign land. He's used to that. But Jack Shore, he has to win. All pressure is on him. He's 15-0. He has to keep the record going to 16-0. He's at home. All his family members are gonna be there. His brother, his sister, his auntie, his grandmama, his grandpapa, his mate. I might. You know what I mean? All the shore MMA folks are gonna buy tickets. They're all gonna come. All the people that train under him, they're all gonna be. So all the pressure is on Jack. But this ain't the first time. He's been doing this for some time now. So I see him pulling it off, even by split decision. I you might not see a finish because they're both very well skilled fighters, and they're close in ranking, 23 and 25. Eh, I see a split decision win over here.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
To quote Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. And Speed Husky saying, I acknowledge Tribal Chief Adam Woods. Where else am I going to get my UFC/MMA history from? I appreciate it. But I don't have the wherewithal of actually being in the cage like one Voodoo Maximus. But just like you said about the history and everything like that, I don't know what I'm going to do to it heighten that view of me or not. But Voodoo, you said the Shore family are going to come out in droves in support of Jack Shore. And
That's
the
right.
one Shore that I want to see in the arena in London is none other than, hello, buddy, fucking Polly Shore. I'm just saying. They might not be related, but in my head, yes, they are. Just like Brian Cage and Christian Cage are of AEW, are they should be brothers because their last name is Cage. Brian Cage, Christian Cage, the former Christian, Engine Christian, and fucking Nick Cage. Why don't we just throw all the cages in a cage and we have a three-way cage match between Brian Cage, Christian Cage, and Nicolas Cage? That's what I say. Uh, so I fucking went on a tangent. But speaking of things that might not go in a tangent, but I know because this gentleman I mean, I don't think of him per se, but he's got an amazing mashup of name because Nikita Krylov, 27 and 8, reminds me of two things. La Femme Nikita, which was a lead in to Monday Night Raw back in the day, right? You remember that, the USA days. And Krylov, the spray paint, right? Or that might be Krylon. But even still, I think Krylon, Krylov, it's not too far off. So I think Nikita, La Femme Nikita, and a spray paint when I think of Nikita Krylov. You tell me what his actual fights are? Maybe I don't know. But he's the minor. He's the minor, Nikita Krylov is. He has a unanimous decision win over Johnny Walker, or lost to now UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira, win over OSP over St. Prior, lost to former UFC light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz, has a win over none other than Fabio Maldonado. Do you know Fabio
I remember
Maldonado?
that guy. I
You
remember
remember
that guy. He's
fucking
probably he's probably punch drunk right now as we speak, just by sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, fucking got a nice little payday fighting Fedor, that Russian oligarch money that might be cut off with everything that's going on now. So unfortunately, we might not get too much of that oligarch money for one Fabio Maldonado, but he's here. Also, in the Fight Night Global promotion, he actually he being Nikita Krylov
Hmm.
uh, has a win over a former Bellator champion Emmanuel Newton. You remember the fucking punk rock kid that
Yep.
fucking hit King Mo
Yep.
with
Yep.
the world's slowest spinning back fist that knocked
Yep.
King Mo dead dick in the dirt, pretty much.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That back fist won him the title.
Yes, it did. Fuck
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he
Uh,
landed it several times.
yeah, he did. But that last one,
Several times.
it was like he was gassed and it didn't have that whatever, but it did enough that it made contact on the chin and what
Yeah.
have you. I'm not taking anything away from Emmanuel Newton because I fucking loved it. He was a black
He's
dude
badass.
that grew up in Long Beach, which is not too
Mm-hmm.
far from where we grew up in Inglewood, California. And he's a fucking punk rock kid, fucking skanking in the middle of the fucking Bellator
Hey,
cage.
hey. And he was born in Inglewood, California.
Yes, there you go. Fucking Emmanuel Newton.
Home team all day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not fighting, but he's
Mm.
in Nikita Krylov's list of opponents. So we're definitely going to give Emmanuel Newton, a former MMA world champion, his just due. And again, you want to challenge that? Again, he knocked out King Mo. So I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But in against Nikita Krylov is going to be none other than it's the fucking Bear Jew. The Bear
Yeah.
Jew, Paul
Yeah.
Craig. And I don't know
Mhm.
what the fuck that is. Obviously, he's a Scotsman. I don't know what that fucking means in that region of the world. But also, Drew McIntyre was a fucking cowboy in three-man band, a fucking
Mhm.
band that actually didn't play instruments. It's
Mhm.
a whole fucking thing. Anyway, that's
Mhm.
what happens when
Mhm.
you get your MMA and your pro wrestling fucked up and mixed
Mhm.
up. And that's how it
Mhm.
just kind of spatters around in here. But uh, none other than the Bear Jew has wins over Marisa Hua, right? Fucking
Mhm.
legend. Marisa Shogun Hua,
Mhm.
former
Mhm.
Pride great. What hasn't Marisa Shogun Hua done, right?
Mhm.
A triangle choke win over Gazimuriad Antigulov. Again, one of our favorites here on the show in
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
kind of pandemic world. Uh,
Mhm.
a win over Jamal Hill, where he injured fucking Jamal Hill's arm, on route
Both.
to in route to victory. Uh,
Mhm.
and he's been in there with Alonzo Menefiel, Kenny Nunchukwu, Jimmy
Mhm.
Crute, Magomed Ankalaev, Khalil
Mhm.
Roundtree. I mean,
Mhm.
fucking Paul Craig is in
Mhm.
this day and age's UFC one of the
Mhm.
most battle tested fighters that
Yes.
there is. We got
Mhm.
Luis Henrique de Silva, Tyson Pedro. Remember how badass he was during his
Yeah.
like one or two fight win streak, culminating at
Mhm.
UFC 209, right?
Yep.
Because I remember actually be uh, being in the group of Albert Morales' family, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Tyson Pedro's family was just the row over, and
Mhm.
everybody congratulating each other on the win because Tyson won at UFC 209, and as did Albert Morales. So it was a good night. But Tyson Pedro was a tough customer. Khalil Roundtree obviously just won in a big way last week. I mean,
Mhm.
fucking Paul Craig has been in there with this era of UFC's best of the best,
Mhm.
including a former, great in Shogun Hua.
Mhm.
I fucking don't know, man. This one's a toss up too, man. I think this
Mhm.
is very closely contested, and I love it because the matchmaking, really, the matchmaking of the UFC of this card. Shout out to Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. This is a fucking impeccable card. It
Mhm.
might be devoid of the household names that a casual fan might love and respect and tune in for. But
Mhm.
damn, dude, this right up and down, all of these have the potential to be fight of the night. There's no easy fights here.
Nope. Nope. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. And this particular matchup, uh, Krylov's gonna have to go in there and put tips on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to put tips on him. He's got to put tips on him early. He needs quick hands, powerful quick hands. Almost. Yeah, I mean, if you saw the fight with the last week's Roundtree, that finish. He's got to start that early on. Without that, Paul Craig is gonna maul him. The Bear Jew. I've come to respect him, even though that nickname is I don't know what it does to me, Bear Jew. But he might be Jewish, but he sure is one bear, man. He will maul you, and that's what he does. That's his bread and butter. Um, I'm going with the Bear Jew, man. He's earned my respect. Krylov just gonna have to prove something to me, man. It is what it is. I'm going Paul Craig submission 3rd round.
That even though I said when I said like I might flip you a coin and pick the other person. Well, in the words of the late great Eddie Guerrero, I
I
lied. So I'm gonna go with the Bear Jew call Craig by submission, just like you said. And speaking of the pro wrestling tip, Shane Husky with a great verbal gem. But Brian Cage is a Pokemon Evolve form of Maxwell Jacob Freeman, better known as MJF. And you, sir, are right. And I think the midway evolution is like what's his name? Richard Holiday, MJF's old fucking compatriot over in MLW. So I'm just saying I think it's MJF, Richard Holiday, and Brian Cage is a final form Pokemon. So, but thank you for that. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. But speaking of things that I love, this one literally in the heavyweight division puts two countrymen against each other, two Dagestani against each other. And I don't know how that's gonna fucking work out. I expect fireworks, but we have Shamil Abdul Rahmanov. I love saying that, even though I fucked it up the first time. Against Sergey Pavlovich, right? Now Sergey coming in for 14-1, a champion of a different promotion. Been in there with Alistair Overeem, again, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, to compete in mixed martial arts, but that was a loss, that befell Sergey. And then a lot of his fights took almost the entirety of his career pre UFC took place in none other than Fight Nights Global, the Russian promotion that co-promoted with Fedor Emelianenko. Speaking of all-time greats, right? But on the other side of things, right, we have Shamil Abdul Rahmanov, right? Abrek, as his name, a champion also in another outside federation outside of the UFC, but he lost his UFC. Actually, he lost his last UFC outing to none other than Chris Dawkins, where unfortunately Shamil gets KO'd by Dawkins, fucking gets grounded and pounded by Curtis Blades, but has beaten Marcin Tiber Sabura, Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky, Chase Sherman, right? But then a loss to Derek Lewis, beat Walt Harris, the big ticket. Walt Harris beat Anthony Hamilton, lost to Tim Johnson. Man, he's just been all up in here. Even a loss to Tony Kryptonite Lopez, who just fought like his gazillion fight. Tony Kryptonite Lopez, one of the all-time greats, and I because he never got a run in the UFC, I don't think a lot of people fucking rank him high in terms of heavyweights and everything. But in my estimation, Tony Lopez is right up in there in the conversation of most decorated heavyweights of all time with
That's right.
with Alistair Overeem and Fedor and Dan Severn and Josh Barnett and guys that would just fucking take every fight that came their way and just like that fucking Bushido shit,
That's
one
right.
night 8-man tournaments, all that whatever. Tony Lopez is there, but Shamil, like you said, Tony Lopez is one of the most battle tested heavyweights that has ever taken place in the cage or the ring, right? And he lost to Tony Lopez via triangle choke. Marcos Oliveira, Jeff Monson. Holy shit. He beat Jeff Monson? Jesus Christ.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
I don't know who the fuck I'm picking. I think I'm going to pick Shamil.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
And so it's a case of old dog versus young dog.
Mhm.
Old dog being Shamil Abdul Rahman, that guy versus Sergey. You got the fight between two Russians, one Arab Russian, one European Russian. Either way, both Russian, both very well skilled in wrestling. It is all good there. So now it's gonna be up to the striking, and I think Sergey is gonna have the edge because he's younger. He's younger. He's chiseled. You know what I mean? Not to overlook Shamil's external look, but I think the young Sergey is gonna move better. Right? He's gonna move better. Uh, 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 he's going to use his length to maintain distance at 6'3", 29 years old. Advantage there, man. I think that's gonna make a difference. It's gonna make a huge difference. Don't sleep on the old dog. I mean, 40-year-olds. He's 6'3" as well, and he's Dagestani on top of that. But I believe youth will prevail here. He's gonna outmove him, and he's gonna take his number 15 spot, moving up 5 spaces from 20. Sergey is gonna win by split decision.
Interesting. Especially when you come into the realization that just under heavyweight, which this fight between these Russians will happen. Um, you got the light heavyweight division, and who occupies the top slot in the light heavyweight division? A 42-year-old Glover Teixeira.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm just saying, and especially Alistair Overeem, that dude ain't
Hmm.
retired, and he's
Hmm.
north of 40. You've got
Yeah.
Andre Pitbull Arlovsky, who could potentially be on, the cusp of, another title run or another shot at the
Yeah.
title. So,
Yeah.
um, when you get into that heavyweight division, shit, old school is cool. Fucking Fedor's still out there, fucking banging
True.
heads. So
True.
I'm just
But
saying.
the thing about these heavyweights is whoever has the speed advantage tends to win more because anyone can knock anyone out in the heavyweight division. Those guys are so big. You just got to touch any part of the head, and they're gonna go to sleep most of the time. Um, Shamil, I don't know if his double is still that fast. I don't know. I can't bet on it. But he is talented. I mean, he's 20-6 for a reason. Been fighting since like 2010 or something ridiculous like that. And as this record shows, he's fought some of the best ever, right? But Sergey, I feel Pavliovic will suffice.
I like it. I can respect it. I can respect it. It's just I just know better to fucking count an old dog out. Like
Don't count him
that's
out. Don't
yeah.
count him out.
Old school is cool, bro. Old school is cool. Them old age outlaws, man. Fuck it. Uh, you're gonna ride. Oh, what's that fucking guy? The Nosferatu looking fucker that just grapples the shit out of everyone. Olenek.
Hey,
Olenek.
the old man, the janitor, right?
Yeah,
Oh no, that's for somebody else. That's
Alexei
the son.
Olenek.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know what
old dude.
that
He's
dude.
still fighting. He's
Yeah,
like
fucking
50,
yeah, dude.
like
Like
100 fights.
shit, dude. Or fucking Daniel Kelly's. I mean, obviously Daniel Kelly's not fucking fighting anymore, but the
Yeah.
heavyweight with that legit fucking judo background and whatever, and would crouch all the way down, and partly because of the fucked up knees that he had all types of fucking uh, gauze and wraps and fucking knee pads and shit like that and whatever. But he would fucking throw, and even in like the fucking twilight of his fucking career, like knocked a motherfucker out with a stance like this. Like, what was he doing? The fucking jacare and shit like that? What the hell? Was he an alligator? I don't know. A fucking former rugby playing judoka, fucking Australian fucking alligator. It's Daniel Kelly, and he would fuck people up north of 40. So I'm just saying, I just know better than to count one of the old guys out, especially when it comes into play of the light heavyweight and heavyweight divisions respectively. Now
Most
38, like
deaf.
if you're a flyweight, that's over the hill. Like but when you get into them heavyweight weights, just saying. Just saying. So we move up in the card, but lower in weight. We have in the featherweight division, Mr. Finland, Makwan Amirkwani,
Mm-hmm.
16-7 is Mr. Finland, and arguably the best, right? The best topology photo. It's him with
Mm-hmm.
a bevy of blondes and martinis, poker chips, and
Mm-hmm.
shit like that. For those who are not following with us on Tapology, let me see if I can fucking do a screen share here, so you guys can get Mr. Finland in all of his glory. Um, because it is something to behold. Yep, I got it. There you go, Mr. Finland. That's him. It's all in that shit. Like fucking blondes, the fucking bachelor that, I've been working and shit. I got my fucking third button down on my collared shirt and everything like that. And a bevy of what we would presume to be Finnish ladies, right? Ladies are there with him. That has got to be the best topology picture there is. So shout out to you, Mr. Finland, for that. Um, so Mr. Finland, obviously, he's been in there with Lerone Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Kirk, Edson
Mm-hmm.
Barbosa, but all of those were losses.
Mm-hmm.
He has a win over Danny Henry via
Mm-hmm.
Andy Conda choke, but lost to
Mm-hmm.
Shane Burgos. Chris Fishgold, who I would say that Chris Fishgold's most significant moment in the UFC was when, unfortunately, his coach wasn't able to be on Fight Island because of
Right.
because of the COVID and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the Irish Dragon Paul Felder step away from the commentary desk
Mm-hmm.
and go ahead and coach Chris Fishgold. But
Mm-hmm.
can I remember an actual Chris Fishgold fight? That I cannot. So unfortunately, there's that. But he has a win over Fishgold, and I believe. Oh, holy shit! Was that was that on Fight Island?
I believe so. Yeah, it was
No,
Fight
actually,
Island.
it was over in the UK, in Sweden. That was the undercard of Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith, or better yet,
Wait a
the
minute.
two dudes who fucking got their ass whooped by John Jones. So there's that. Uh, all respect to those two, mind you. But remember, fucking when Gustafson was on Rogan, it was like, oh, oh, I know, I know how to beat John Jones. I know how to beat John Jones, and fucking did worse than he did the first time. Uh, yeah, that's a fucking deal, right?
Ah.
So that is Mr. Finland's kind of run in the UFC. Not totally, but those are the notable people in his record and fight history, right? But
Mhm,
on the
mhm.
other side, we have the Englishman, Mike Grundy, 12-3. And that is
Yes.
fucking impressive. Um,
Yes.
for a 35-year-old? Shit, yeah.
Hmm.
When we were talking about age and everything in the featherweight
Yes.
division, that
Yes.
might be peak performance and shit. And but Mike Grundy most recently was in the cage with Lando Venata. Groovy Lando handed him a split decision loss. Movsar Evolov uh, also handed Mike Grundy a unanimous decision loss.
Right. Right.
But Nad Namiriani, Grundy beat via second round KO. I actually
Hmm.
remember that, right? That was
Hmm.
pre-pandemic. And then, but prior to that Nad Namirani fight, he basically fought in a lot of overseas promotion: Asperia
Hmm.
FC, ACB, Shuto, Shinobi War, which and even Bama. You remember Bama?
Yes.
Yeah, where we had like Tom Duquesnoy, fucking
Hmm.
like there's a man. I wish somebody did a fucking documentary on just people that came out of Bama.
Hmm.
Um, that are in the UFC and Bellator and shit like that, like literally Hall of
Mhm.
Fame talent. And I hope and wish that Bama MMA or Bama BA MMA gets its just due for its overall contribution to the MMA game, because I don't think a lot of people, especially casuals today, uh, give it the prestige that I feel it should have, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, this one is kind of, this is a feast of fire match, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Murakami, I mean, he's already had three straight losses, and I
Mhm.
think because he has been so convincing on the mic, and this is a proof positive example of what you preach day in and day out on this show, of having a way to connect yourself to your audience via
Mhm.
mic skills, right? And
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
what you know Murakami has done, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
we talked about his picture on Topology, carefully curated, and the times that he's been able to be in the winner's circle and had the mic to him, he's always had something to say, right?
Mhm.
Where he's on a three-fight losing streak, and that would be the death, the death kill. That would be the
Mhm.
crux of the UFC existence. But he's got one more chance to make it right. Um,
Yes.
so Mike Grundy, coming off of a two-fight losing streak and those being decisions, um, honest to goodness, I don't remember either. And this is no disrespect to Mike Grundy, but
Mhm.
this kind of highlights on making an impact with a lot of
Mhm.
fights, and UFC specifically have conditioned us during the pandemic since July ish 2020 that we
Mhm.
have a fight almost every Saturday since then,
Mhm. Mhm.
whether it be a UFC fight night or a pay-per-view.
Mhm.
I can't remember Mike Grundy's last two fights, to be honest with you. So
Mhm.
uh, I want to say that fucking Mr. Finland finds a way to justify his spot on the UFC roster, and I'm
Mhm.
going with him unanimous decision.
Okay. Okay. This is not a bad fight to wrap up the prelims. These two will main event the prelims, and you have Marquani, worthy shot. I mean, worthy pick. Mike Grundy. Looking at his record, his last two fights are some tough sons of bitches, man. Lando Venata is not an easy fight in any stretch of the word. And then on top of that, Mavsar Evliov, are you serious? That guy's a monster, man. 12-0. Like, remember that Mavslov guy? He was putting
Yes.
so many submission and he got out, kept
Hmm.
twisting his way out.
Yeah.
You know, like he was supposed to die, but he would twist his way out. That guy's like none other. And that guy couldn't stop him. That tells you his level right there. Lando, split decision. He almost beat Lando Venata. Split decision. Right? So that right there tells me that even though he lost, the fact that he wasn't submitted by Mafsar tells me just how good he is grappling wise. And I do not think Mr. Americani has anything close to that. But when it comes to striking, Lando is that guy. He is that guy. He almost knocked out Tony Ferguson, if you remember.
Yep.
When he I believe it was a spinning heel kick that he dropped on Tony Ferguson and
Yep.
damn near lost to him. Tony Ferguson almost went to sleep. Barely made it out of that fight, man. If it wasn't for his erratic front flips and all that stuff, he would have been stopped. So this is someone that's very good, very good, and the fact that it was just a split decision tells me not only is Mike Grundy a well balanced grappler, he is also a well balanced striker. So this is a very good matchup. It's a very good chance for Mike Grundy to move up 16 spaces and take Marquani's spot at 40 and possibly give Marquani his walking papers. You know,
Wow.
um, the UFC is a tough spot, man. It's a tough place to be. Tough place to be. So I'll flip you a coin on this one, and I'll go Grundy.
No, I like it. That's what we were both kind of saying, that this fight is, there aren't easy matchups. There's no
Hmm.
gimme fights. Like, it's
No.
evenly matched. This is one of the top to bottom most
Hmm.
evenly matched fights in
Hmm.
UFC in recent memory. So
Hmm.
again, shout out to John Shelby and Mick Maynard for this.
And
Now,
once you start to see them match up evenly matches like this, they're trying to clean up shop. You know what I'm saying? If you're losing, you're gone. That's what they do. When you start to see the even matches like that, it's the fight to the death, like back in the days of Rome. You
uh-huh.
know, yeah, two men enter, one man leave, and that's what we've got here, right? Two fight losing streak versus 3 fight losing streak. Either way, they're both on losing streaks. Somebody's got to come out on top, and the winner
Absolutely.
stays.
And just to kind of talk a little bit, and we'll briefly touch on it, but you're talking about, you know, about walking papers and what have you. I think
Yes.
we would be remiss not to speak of, and I um, DM'd you, but Greg
Hmm.
Hardy is not a part of the UFC roster anymore,
Hmm.
along with Sabina Mazo, who just took a loss this past weekend. Also,
We said
Davi.
so. We
Yep,
said so.
absolutely. And Davi Ramos, as well as Jared Gooden, no longer a part of the UFC roster. So we wish him well, except for Greg Hardy. Fuck Greg Hardy. I've been saying that since the fucking beginning. He's the reason why I don't believe in the concept of Dana White's Contender Series. When you had Chris Curtis literally super kick a motherfucker with a broken hand, Jacob Rosales, went to a fucking decision with the fucking broken leg. You know, Jalen Turner, Roosevelt Roberts, and everything. And they had lasting effects on the UFC roster, whereas Greg Hardy is just a fucking. How Jim Cornette talks about Vince Russo, and he doesn't even give Vince Russo a name, doesn't call him by his name, but calls him none other than shit stain. Greg Hardy is the shit stain of the UFC. He is the Vince Russo of the UFC, not the fucking match on a pole shit, but he's just a shit stain. So
A
I'm just
dookie
glad.
stain.
Yeah, good riddance, you fucking loony. Um,
Hey man,
don't
hey.
don't hit
The look
women.
the look on Greg Hardy's face, it was more of a relief. Like, thank God they cut me. Damn. I
Yeah,
can't keep getting my ass whooped like this.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
He had he was on social media like, hey, I did my best, blah blah blah. This and that. It was more like when I read his message, it was more like, thank God this is over. Cause I was getting my ass whooped.
nah, fuck it, dude. Keep him on the roster. Give him 3 more fights. Who's in the fucking top three? Let's give him fucking. I got Francis.
Ah.
Let's give him fucking Derek Lewis. Let's give him Cyril Gahn. Let's give him fucking re-sign Alistair Overeem just to kick Greg Hardy's ass. Give him fucking Curtis Blades. Yeah, like let's give Greg Hardy 5 more chances, and it's all in the top five on the same
hey,
night.
hey, the craziest thing just on my ring, someone says my 10-year-old is missing. Please help find my boy. If you see him, please let me know. Now it's 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock at night, March 17th, Thursday night. It's about to be Friday morning. How can your 10 years old be missing at 12 o'clock at night? I just don't understand some people. I just don't get it. That kind of stuff pisses me off. A 10-year-old. Why is your 10-year-old missing? I guess I don't know all the facts to this story, but how can a 10-year-old be missing at this hour? You know? It's such a sad situation, man.
Yeah, just man, that hurts my heart as well. You as well are a parent. That's just fucked. It's so fucked. But hopefully everybody gets gets home safely. That's that's literally your worst nightmare. And you know, prior in the day, we were talking to Aisha Raymond, and
Hmm.
we were talking about a 15-year-old who was called out of class over in the UK, called out of
Mm-hmm.
class to strip um, on her menstrual cycle because
Because they
she's
thought she had drugs.
yeah.
Hmm. I
So
remember seeing that somewhere.
yeah, so just man, the world's a fucking. It can be a bad place, so just be good. I know we talk a lot of shit on here or whatever, give our opinions and what have you, but we're a part of a community, so just be good to each other. Of course, we all have bad days and rough spots and whatever, but just to be good to each other because, man, some unspeakable horrors happen every day, sometimes right next door to you. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, just hopefully that 10-year-old finds his way back home. Yeah,
Hopefully, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, Takeo Powell says that's what I'm talking about, 100%. So, uh, yeah, that's a bit of somber news. But we kind of go on with the Jai Herbert Ilya Topuria match, which
Mm-hmm.
shit, somebody gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Ilya
Or choke the
Topuria,
fuck out.
yeah, El Matador is a
Mm-hmm.
perfect 11-0, fighting out of MMA Masters. You remember he fucking KO'd Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall was trying to
Mm-hmm.
do all those fucking inverted
Leg
guard,
locks.
leg lock, whatever the fuck, and Ilya Taporia just fucking caught that some bitch and knocked him to high heaven. You know,
Nighty
uh,
night.
yep, fucking KO's Ryan Hall. You remember going into that, and nobody wanted to fight. Ryan Hall couldn't fight a fight for
Couldn't
fucking
find a
2 years
fight for his life.
because he knew about that shit. Um, it wasn't as bad as Paul Harris, but
Mm-hmm.
when he locked you up in that leg lock, that's it.
Yeah.
Couldn't punch worth a shit, but fucking those fucking inverted guards from the fucking the butt scoots, man. Fucking Ryan Hall will fuck up all your ligaments below the
Mm-hmm.
knee. But Ilya Taporia found a way to KO Ryan Hall in a memeable way because the memes on that was fucking just amazing. No disrespect to Ryan Hall, one of the greatest grapplers to ever enter the UFC, but I'm just saying that shit was a poetic justice in some respects. But also, Ilya has beat Damon Jackson, first round KO, Yusef Zalal, unanimous
Mm-hmm.
decision,
Mm-hmm.
Steven Gonzalez back at Brave Combat Federation 29, Luis Gomez at Brave
Mm-hmm.
Combat Federation 26,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Bowland, Cage Warriors 94 via Anaconda choke. He had, I mean, Ilya Topuria, he's El Matador is a complete fighter, and especially
Yeah.
at this stage of this game. But he
Yeah.
is going up against the Black Country Ranger, and I can respect it because one of my favorite super groups is the Black Country Communion with
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, Jason Bonham, the son of the legendary Led Zeppelin drummer uh, John Bonham,
Mm-hmm.
the Derek Sherinian from Dream Theater, and the guitar virtuoso that was Joe Bonamassa, right? So I know
Mm-hmm.
about the Black Country, some of the greatest fucking rock music that has ever seen its way around the world from that region of the UK. Um, Shout out to the Black Country. So if he's the Black Country banger, he's coming to fucking bang. Kind of re-lifting the "Let me bang, bro. Let me bang,
Yeah.
bro. Let me bang,
Yeah.
bro." Oh, shout out to Jan Lane. Not
Yeah.
Jan Lane. Julian Lane.
Yeah.
But yes, um, Jai Herbert KO'd Karma Worthy,
Right.
but lost via rear naked choke to Renato Moicano, lost to Francisco Trinaldo. Talk about old
Mm-hmm.
school being cool.
Mm-hmm.
Francisco Trinaldo has been in there forever and ever and ever and ever. Sorry, I went in my inner Terry Funk fucking moment there. But he gets KO'd by Francisco Trinaldo. Been in there with Jack Grant. Actually, been in there with Jack Grant pre UFC Jack Grant, and that is in Cage Warriors 106. Kane Carrizosa, Cage Warrior 109, Kiyo's Kane. Yeah, he's a Cage Warriors and Bama veteran through and through. Jesus Christ, somebody's gonna get the fucking head knocked off. I swear to God. This is to me, this is a fucking performance bonus. This is a $50,000 performance bonus. Assuming the Padley Pimblett shit doesn't fucking take the steam out of it. But this is a fucking great fight. I am super excited. Like this whole fucking main card is just ooh, yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, as you were reading Jai Hubbard's record, you know what I'm saying, how well he's done, the people he's faced, he was feeling pumped. He was feeling pumped. And then he had to wake up to reality because Ilya Tupuria ain't no joke. He ain't no joke. He's 11-0, number 16 in the world, and he will be putting this fella to sleep no later than the second round. It is what it is. If not the first round, I won't be surprised if it's the first round. And then he's gonna call out Paddy Pimblett, call him out so they can get this show on the road and give us the fans the fight we really want to see. I wouldn't be mad if they would have switched Rodrigo Vargas and with Ilya Tupuria so we can get that match right now. But it is what it is. We will see what happens. But Tupuria has to get through Hubbard, which he will. And Pimblett, I'm not sure what he didn't quite impress me in that first fight. The way he got rocked so easily because he cut so much weight. Wasn't too impressed. Rodrigo, we will get to Rodrigo. But as far as this match is concerned, I would like to see Tupuria versus Pimblett because there's a heat there, and this will be marketable. This will be marketable, and we'll see. I'm going for Tupuria to strangle this son of a gun no later than the second round.
Damn. Okay. Like I said, Black Country Communion is one of my favorite bands, even though they only had 3 albums and one of them being a live album. Shout out to the Black Country. I believe also fucking Tommy Iommi and the guys from Black Sabbath also hail from that region, the Westlands of England. So I'm gonna go with the Black Country banger on this one. But again, it could go either fucking way.
Yes, it could.
But I, Tupuria and fucking Patty the Batty, in the words of Conor McGregor, sign me up. Fuck it, man. Let's do that. Win, lose, or draw. I don't give a fuck. Let's do that.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hell yeah. So that's a 50-50 split. But again, these are some of the most evenly match fights in recent UFC memory. So there ain't no there's no love lost here, right? So we're good. We're good. We're fucking good. This one is kind of fun too. We have 8-2 Luana Carolina of Brazil going against Meatball Molly McCann. Dread Luana Carolina is again 8-2. Her last time in the octagon saw her beat none other than former LFA strawweight champion Lupita Lupi Godinez. That's a fucking big win. Along with Poliana Botello, where she gets a split decision win. Lost to Ariane Lipsky, but beats Priscilla Castrera. And look how good Castrera has looked, recently. That's looking... That's some good shit for Luana Carolina. But on the other side, she's got Meatball Molly, who has a love-hate relationship in the eyes of a lot of MMA consensus because they think Meatball Molly is a tin can, even though she's only lost 4 times in her UFC career, and that is the first one coming at the hands of Vanessa Mello, who now Vanessa Mello is in the UFC. So that's not a bad fucking loss if you're going to have your first one. But then doesn't lose again until she gets to the UFC at UFC Fight Night 130 against Julian Savage Robertson. and that was
Mm-hmm.
via rear naked choke. But I mean, Priscilla Dos Souza, up until that point, Lacey Shockman in Cage Warriors, win. Then beat, again, the aforementioned Priscilla Cachoeira, Ariane Lipsky, Diana Belvita. Even picked up a grappling win over Abby O'Toole in Grapple Fest
Mm-hmm.
7, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
lost to Laura Procopio and as well as Italia Santos. But rebounding with that with a win over Jin Yon Kim via
Mm-hmm.
unanimous decision. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I, I fucking like Luana Carolina on this one.
Okay, I'll split you. I'll
Okay.
split you. I have nothing invested in these two women, so I can definitely flip you a coin over here, most definitely. Because
All
when
right.
I when you look at the Matt Cachoeira, they both have beaten Cachoeira, but Luana has lost to Lipsky, and Molly has beaten Lipsky. So
Mhm.
that might be an edge there in the striking department because Lipsky should be known for striking, but Luana has improved every time we've seen her. I will give
Yes.
her that, which changed the game a little bit. So it's definitely worthy of a 50-50 split. I'll go 50-50 with you.
I like it. I fucking like
Hmm.
it. Let's do that. Um,
Hmm.
but oh shit, can you feel that? Feel it's fucking
Yeah.
hot. It's getting
Hmm.
hot because we're getting higher up in the card, and there's going to be fireworks. And if you get close to
Hmm.
the fire, you might get burnt.
Ooh.
Because we got Gunnar Nelson. We're not talking about Ozzy and Harriet Nelson's fucking kids that had that hair metal band in the fucking 80s. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Gunnar Nelson and 17 5-1. One of the most tenured members of the UFC roster. But he's been on a losing streak, and there's losses at the hands of Gilbert Burns via unanimous decision, Leon Edwards via split decision, but beat Alex Oliveira, the cowboy, uh, via rear naked choke. Lost to Santiago Ponzabibio. Beat Alan Joban. Albert Terminov. Lost to Damian Maya because it's Damian fucking Maya. Beat Brandon Thatch. Jesus Christ, man. Gunnar Nelson, like I said, one of the most tenured fucking people here. Um, Brick fucking horror story. Zach Cummings. Jesus Christ, man. You forget how long fucking Gunnar Nelson has been there. And you know what? I actually, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
forgot Gunnar Nelson was on the fucking roster.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but he's going up against one of my favorites, 10 Takashi Sato, 16
Hmm.
and 4.
Hmm.
Uh, Sato relocating to Sanford MMA with Henry Hooft down in South Florida. But, 10 has been, I mean, a veteran of Pancrase, Grand Slam, but makes his UFC debut at UFC on ESPN Plus 8 back in 2019 against Ben Saunders, where he fucking KOs Ben Killer B. Saunders, lost to Bilal Muhammad via rear naked choke,
Hmm.
rebounds with the KO, a 48-second KO win in the first round against Jason Vanilla Gorilla Witz. Was
Yes.
supposed to fight none other than Daniel D. Rod Rodriguez. That gets canceled, but gets in there with Miguel Baeza, but loses via arm triangle choke. So
Hmm.
this one, I fucking don't know how this is gonna go. I'm going with Takeshi Sato just because I like the fucking dude. I've watched him a lot pre UFC. This dude has been in the MMA fight game since 2013. That's
Hmm.
10 fucking years, as we oh
Hmm.
9 fucking years, right?
Hmm.
As we sit here in 2022. So yeah, I like 10. I like
Hmm.
10, 10, 10. In the words of Ty Dillinger, now gotta forget his name in AEW. But
Hmm.
I digress. I'm going with Takeshi Sato.
Hmm. Yes, yes. This is a very wise choice because Sato, he brings a heat. He's got excellent boxing, you know, and this is going to be his edge if he is to win this match. If the fight goes longer than 2 rounds, Sato has a higher probability of winning. That's because Gunnar Nelson has yet to be able to get his hands on him to drag him to the ground so he can strangle him. Gunnar Nelson, he's very good. He's got a karate type stance, the kind you saw when Conor was back at 145-pound division. Now, Gunnar, he's got the same style, but his main thing is submission. He's a submission artist. He's gonna come in. He's gonna stand with you. Once you start to tag him here and there, then he's gonna start shooting for his life. Put you on the fence. You know, dirty boxing. He's very good at these things. But I think Takashi Sato, should be wise to this. He should be prepared for this. And I'm also going to go with Takashi because Japan's where it's at.
Yeah, man.
I see knockout. I see knockout TKO.
100%. And second and third round, I think, with the tenured veteran status and experience of Gunnar Nelson, he's not going to be easy to put away, but it's been a while since we've seen Gunnar Nelson, so I think I think the cardio and everything, the takedown defense, striking defense will get Gunnar Nelson late into the second round. But I say late second round into the third round, Takeshi Sato finds that fucking chin and night, Gunnar Nelson. Yeah.
Straight up.
100%. Paulo Abdul fucking straight up. Now tell me, you want to be in this UFC forever, Gunnar Nelson? Or is this a game of hit and run? Fuck it. But we have we're closing in on the last 3 fights. We have Mexico's Rodrigo Vargas, 12-4 is Kazula. Kazula has literally the pride of Mexico on his back and in his gym because he fights out of the Mexican Pride gym. But the last time that we saw him in the UFC was against Zhu Rong, which he basically beat Rong he righted the wrong and won via unanimous decision, but lost to Brock Weaver, who literally looks like one of those fucking things from the Game of Thrones that they were fucking the something talkers or whatever. Brock Weaver is a scary, imposing motherfucker. But he beats him not because Rodrigo beat Brock Weaver, it's because Brock Weaver hit Rodrigo with a fucking illegal knee, right?
Yeah.
A la, what's his name? Peter Jan Aljamain Sterling, and got Sterling the fucking victory and the belt. And then also been in there with Alex de Silva, who Rodrigo Vargas has been there and lost Rodrigo, lost to Alex de Silva, the unanimous decision, right? And then prior to that, that Alex de Silva fight, he spent a lot of his career in Combate Americas and the Warrior. I think it's Warrior Combat, TWC. The Warrior's Cage, that's it, up in Porterville. But that all being said, he's going up against one of the most highly touted UFC signings that there has been in recent years, none other than Patty the Batty Pimblett. And I think this is a gimme fight for Pimblett. I mean,
of course.
That's it.
I mean,
this is a fight.
The kid is known to be great on the mic. He's known to be an entertainer, which is what we're looking for. He's a complete trifecta. He's got excellent skills, right? He's got excellent mic skills, even though I can't understand what the hell he's talking about. Nonetheless, some people do, and those people are willing to buy tickets, and they're willing to buy tickets by the thousands, right? So because of that, he's okay, and also he's got a nice social media presence, right? One thing that I'm not really that I find suspect is the fact that he gets so fat between fights. I couldn't believe how fat he was the last time I saw him. He looked like me, and I haven't fought in like 4 or 5 years. You know, he looked like me, so fat. Look, he was fatter than me. That's that's a sign of a lack of discipline. That's what that means to me. You are a professional fighter and you get that fat. Um, it's bad. It's bad. I don't see him hanging in the top 10 and defeating those guys. At least not right now. Something has to change. This Mr. Vargas fella is a gimme fight, most definitely, because this is a kind of, I mean, don't get Mr. Vargas wrong. He's got a shot to win, but all cards are stacked against him. He's the shorter man here, Patty is 5'10". He's about what, 5'8", 5'7", something like that. Everything is stacked against him. Skill is stacked against him. Home court advantage is stacked against him. A reach advantage is stacked against him. Just the whole thing is stacked against him. I saw him at the press conference, at the face-off. Just look in his eyes, there was no confidence in him, and Patty could see it, and he smiled, and the man is just coming in there to collect the paycheck and lose. That's what I see. That's what I see. Now, there could be a chance of an upset, but that's rather lower than it is what it is. I'm going with Patty to win this one. Third round. Why not?
Yeah, I got Patty too, and I know a lot of people talk about Patty the fatty instead of Patty the baddie and whatever. To me, I think obviously Patty uh, kind of reminds us that are wrestling fans. He kind of resembles a young Roddy Piper, right? But I also think in terms of
I see it.
you know, in terms of his reach and appeal, he is the UK version and answer to the US counterpart of Sean O'Malley, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
Sean
Mm-hmm.
O'Malley is somebody that has connected with people uh, who might be MMA fans or UFC fans or non MMA fans and non
Mm-hmm.
UFC fans. There's something
Mm-hmm.
about Patty. So, yes, this is something where. Uh, the UFC is going to hitch their wagons to where they did it with like Johnny Walker or
Mm-hmm.
there's been a litany of guys and girls, Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zant, like what have you that the UFC literally put their promotional hooks behind, and Patty is
Mm-hmm.
just the next version of it. Like again, I think take that template of Sean O'Malley with what Sean O'Malley is to America, Patty is to there. Um, and the jokes that we don't get about Sean O'Malley, that fucking Twitch, generation and everything. And there's nothing against Twitch. We were being streamed on Twitch, so shout out to the Twitch Nation. Um, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. But where a non-Twitch user doesn't get Sean O'Malley, the Twitch users absolutely do it, and the UFC sees dollars, and as we're getting out of the Connor era of things, and Connor, who hasn't fought or won in quite some time, is in talks with a fucking UFC title shot, leapfrogging all other contenders to get to fucking Charles Oliveira. Well, guess what? Patty the Batty, if what the UFC is cards they want to play are right, he is the next step and votary of expanding the already big UK market,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
mean that's even expanded this way too, where Cage Warriors, the one of the most prominent UK based promotions that's launched so many stars from that scene. Are doing shows in San Diego. We just had one not too long ago, I believe last month. Cage Warriors
Mm-hmm.
came down here and featured a lot of Los Angeles and Southern California, you know, Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Diego talent
Hmm.
against some UK talent. There's a couple of fights that had UK talent. So I'm just saying. So Patty is the key to kind of be the heir apparent of where Conor McGregor left off. So better or for worse, that's where we are. Not to say that fucking Patty doesn't have the skill set or yeah, I mean his his video of him fucking puking in the fucking Cage Warriors, uh, fucking cage, that's gone viral a litany of times, and especially as we're
Hmm.
getting closer to his fight, it's made the rounds again. So picked up another couple 100,000, if not million views up to this point. So yeah, I mean, this is a gimme fight for Patty and whatever. So you know what? If you're gonna do it, fucking cash in on it. In ways that maybe some other guys and girls on the UFC roster and even on this card haven't been able to do. Fucking Patty, get your fucking bag. Get your money, dude. So I ain't mad at you. So fuck it. If
And
they
just like you said, cash in on it. We're about to cash into the co-main event of the evening. Patty Pimble is whack to me. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm not really giving a damn. He first of all, you gave him way too much love for us to talk about him for that long. He hasn't even done shit
Hey, I'm
to
gonna get.
earn all of that.
I'll pick 10 Patty Pimblets over fucking one Greg Hardy is what I'm saying. So I'm good. I'm good. There you go. So take it away, Voodoo.
So in the co-main event, we have none other than Arnold Allen versus Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, currently number 15 in the lightweight division. How quickly things change. Hooker was what, top three
Mm-hmm.
during Fight Island? Now he's fallen down to 15, falling so far down that he fell straight down to the featherweight division, in which he is going to make his comeback. He's going to be going in there against an established Arnold Allen at 17-1. I'm not even going to look at anything. I'm just going to tell you that Dan Hooker, uh, I'm not really into Dan Hooker anymore. Not because he fell from grace, but because he stepped to the greatest ever and ran his mouth to John Jones. I was turned off by that. Uh, I'm not going for Dan Hooker. First of all, he's going to be losing so much water out of his system. His brain is going to be ready to be fried. I don't know. Arlen will have an opportunity to either knock his ass out or TKO his ass. Arnold will be able to get him to the ground because uh, 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 he would not have rehydrated well enough to compete at the high level, co-main event level. He will not be ready. This is a 3 5 minute round fight, and I don't think he will make it. The blueprint has been established. Arnold Allen has what it takes to shut down Dan Hooker. Dagestani wrestling is all it will take, and Arnold has got that capability to implement such a game plan. Arnold will be winning this in no less than 2 rounds. Submission.
I like it. I don't disagree with you, but just look at Arnold Allen's resume. He's on a
Hmm.
10 fight winning streak, and some of those wins, the notable ones, none other than somebody who we talked about earlier on the card, who's fighting for relevancy, Mr. Finland, Mekwan Amirkwani,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But also Gilbert Melendez, right? And yes, you could argue it's a older Gilbert Melendez, past his peak. Also, Nick the Carney Lenz. You could argue that also Nick the Carney Lenz was past his sell by date, but here he wins the same way that he beat Gilbert Melendez and Nick Lenz prior to it with
Hmm.
a young Sadiq Youssef who just fought and looked pretty decent. Uh, Last week, I believe it was, right?
Hmm.
Sadiq Youssef,
Hmm. Yep.
Super Sadiq. Yeah,
Hmm.
he just fucking fought Alex Caceres.
He's a mauler. He
Yeah,
mauls
exactly.
them.
And fucking Arnold Allen, the almighty one, definitely beat two legends and an up and comer that looked good just last week, the very
Hmm.
same way, unanimous decision. So
Hmm.
yes, I too Arnold Allen for the win. And so
Yes.
now that we're here, we are at the main events of the evening. We have former Bellator World Heavyweight Champion Alexander Volkov, who is 34-9, against the rising upstart that is the 11-2 Tom Aspinall. Again, Volkov, a former Bellator World Heavyweight Champion, um, sat on the sidelines for a large part of his career. Didn't immediately come to the UFC. He was like a holdout, and there was like a whole dispute. I think that was during the era of the Bjorn Rebney um, kind of uh, reign on Bellator,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
lost to Czech Congo, Tony Johnson Jr., um, Mighty Mo, Siala
Mm-hmm.
Siligua, Mighty Mo, uh, a Japanese legend, and Drago has a win over him. Actually, head kicked KOs him. I remember that. And talk about former Bellator World Heavyweight Champions. He actually lost to Vitaly Minikov, who again
Mm-hmm.
during the early days of Bellator
Mm-hmm.
was a heavyweight champion for that promotion. But since he's been in the UFC, been in there with Stefan Struve, has wins, I should say, not just been in there, uh, with none other than Attila Vey, um, also Tim Johnson, where he makes his UFC debut. Big Country Road Nelson, uh, Skyscraper Stefan Struve, Fabricio Verdum, former UFC
Mm-hmm.
heavyweight champion and the first man to beat Fedor Emelianenko in quite
Mm-hmm.
some time, but been
Mm-hmm.
in there and got KO'd by Derek Lewis. We remember that. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
beat the shit out of Greg Hardy. Thank you for doing that, Volkov. Um, lost to Curtis Razor Blades. Can't remember that one because Curtis Blades is fucking boring. But kicks Walt Harris to the solar plexus. Talk about kicking a man while he's down. Walt Harris
Mm.
had the unfortunate instance of having his daughter or stepdaughter,
Yeah.
horrible, just kidnapped and everything like that. And Walt Harris, we all wanted the feel good story and to make good of all the adversity and the horrible loss of a child, especially a female. Being a fucking world renowned UFC fighter, that's got to be a kick in the guts. And even more, Volkov fucking kicked Walt Harris in the guts as he was trying to get that elusive win. But Volkov has beaten and KO'd Alistair Overeem, lost to Cyril Gahn, former UFC interim champion, and just recently beat Marcin Tybura on the undercard of the Global Teixeira Jan Blachowicz uh, fight where Glover Teixeira won the title. But 11
Mm-hmm.
and 2, Tom Aspinall, man, he's been in there. Fucking KO to Sergey Spivak, Alan
Mm-hmm.
Baudot, KO, Jake Collier, KO. And I mean, those last two, Collier and Baudot, those are fucking first round KOs.
Mm-hmm.
Collier, it only took 45 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at the stock in Tom Aspinall. This is somebody that we both have been high on, but you have been um, haven't missed a chance to sing the presence of Tom Aspinall, whether he's been on a fight card that we talk about or not. So, with that all being said, I'm going to fucking go with every analysis that you've made, every song of praise that you've sung in way of Aspinall, and I say Aspinall wins at home over
Mm-hmm.
former Bellator World Heavyweight Champion Alexander Volkov.
You
Uh,
dong song, my friend. You
uh,
dong song.
uh,
Yeah.
dong the dong
You
dong.
dong song. Yeah. And because it's all about the future. And Tom Aspinall is the future. The days of flat footedness is gone. It's gone. It's over. You flat footed, you get toe tagged. It's that simple. Free flow. People are aiming, not for free flow anymore. Or what is the one that they used to do?
Oh wait, there's free flow and flow state.
flow state. The days of flow state is over. It's about free flow now, right? Whatever we need to do to win is what we must do. No more of that one styles. No, 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 no. Those days are over. Now we have people like Tom Aspinall, that big, that light on their feet. Cyril gone, light on his feet. You know what I mean? The movement is what's gonna beat this man on Saturday. This Volkov movement is what's gonna beat him. When he faced Cyril gone, he didn't know what was hitting him. He couldn't keep up because he was flat footed. There was no one standing in front of him. Tom Aspinall is going to read this and he's going to stick and move. He's going to hit the double leg, do what he has to do. He's going to go 25 minutes. He's going to be sharp and he's going to outstrike Alexander Volkov. Volkov will not get knocked out, I don't believe. He will not get knocked out, but I believe Aspinall has what it takes. But don't sleep on Volkov. If you do not respect him, he will put you out. He's got the capability to put anyone out. However, if you stay ahead of him and keep him moving, keep him pivoting, then Aspinall's got that match in the bag.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, I have been a fan of Volkov ever since his Bellator days as world champion, and respected the stance that he took, taking his career on in his own hands, and sat out, quite a bit of his contract just to, along with Sergey Minikov, to kind of protest the shenanigans that Bjorn Rebney was doing over there in Bellator, right? And we should have seen Volkov in the UFC longer, like 2 years before we actually did. But with that all being said, as much as I like Volkov, and Volkov has trained at Black House with a lot of
Kenny Smith.
Kenny Johnson.
Johnson, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, as well as been in there with Blake Troop and a litany of the guys and girls over at Black House. But all that being said, the last thing I remember of Volkov is getting KO'd by fucking Derek Lewis, and his what is it, the fucking shin braces, the foot braces and everything like that, just being starched with his fucking foot stiff as shit.
In a fight he was winning the entire time.
Exactly, and that's what put. I mean, of course, Derek Lewis was already on the path of being known, but that was, I believe that was the Balls is Hot promo.
My balls is hot, homie.
Yeah, so unfortunately he was on the wrong side of history and literally lost a superstar at the behest of his fucking chin and what have you. So unfortunately I'm marred by that. So again, it's Tom Aspinall on the way. I don't know.
We shall see.
Because I mean, fucking, he's younger than Derek Lewis was, right? And then Derek Lewis knocked him out. What, going on 4 years ago, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think Aspinall KOs Volkov. Honestly,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Late in the second round. That's what I'm going with.
I wouldn't be surprised. Not at
all.
Hell
yes. But one thing that we aren't surprised here at Voodoo in the Woods is the support from all of you, both on the Voodoo in the Woods social media pages as well as the bodyslam.net social media pages. So we just can't thank you enough. And Takeo Pyle says, have a good night, guys. You as well. We love you. Love all of you that are tuning in with us week to week. Twice a week is what we give it to you. But for those who want a little bit more of Voodoo Maximus and access to Voodoo Maximus, where can they find you on social media, good sir?
Definitely find me on YouTube, Facebook page, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all day, every day. I'll be there.
I'll be there. At According to Woods, sharing dumb shit memes and bringing you the best of both the pro wrestling and MMA spheres. We did a Scott Hall tribute where we normally do after 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff wasn't able to join us, obviously, with everything going on. in addition to a scheduled vacation. So the rest of the crew being one Steve Kaufman, George Hermosa of the Wrestling Chatter, and Christy Olson joined me for a Scott Hall tribute, which you can find on the According Woods channel, as well as the BodySlam.net channels, as well as Zeta Zhang talking about her fight at Bloodsport 8 uh, during WrestleMania weekend this year in Dallas. That's
Mhm.
again, this is one of the four horsewomen of MMA against Zeta Zhang, who also has a legit MMA background. And the fucking confines of this fight will be no ropes in Dallas under the auspices of Bloodsport. KOs and submissions only. That's it.
Yes,
So
let's go.
that's it. And tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the new California Women's Bantamweight Champion, none other than Jennifer Flores out of CSW, after her 7-second win. Title win at Star MMA this past weekend. She will be joining us here at According to Woods. And then I might make an appearance at James Lott Jr.'s podcast. JLJ Media is where you can find all of that. James, Flobo, and I will be talking about some wrestling and what have you. But again, thank you guys for watching us. R.I.P. Scott Hall. He was facing demons at a time where we had some of the greatest memories. So that just shows that even in your worst of worst, you are capable of greatness. Never
Mm.
forget it, you guys. Never forget it. You guys are great. Thank you for joining us. Much love, and we will see you 4 o'clock right here on Sunday, Pacific Standard Time, for more Voodoo in the Woods.